In 1970, the scientists of the Soviet Union started the most strange and surprising experiment, which was the experiment to go to the deepest depth of the Earth. And when he started digging these boreholes, then some such things happened, which surprised the whole world, and this experiment was also locked. Today's dense jungle and land, covered with a thick sheet of snow, lies a resort station with broken walls. A 112-inch metal lid is placed on the concrete floor between the rusty, broken equipment, which is closed with 12 bolts, and the locals believe that this is the door to hell, which the scientists dug up to let the devil out. Chance was given, but its real name is Kola Supati Borehole, the deepest pit made by man, which goes up to 26 kilometers inside the Earth. Let 112 Burj Khalifa stand on top of one, as deep. It took scientists 25 years to find out. But what happened to the project? When this borehole drill was sent inside with a microphone, what kind of sounds did it record? And let's know what the scientist found when he went 12 kilometers inside the Earth. But before that, please subscribe to the video live and the channel. The story begins in the 1960s, when the Cold War was raging between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this time, there was a fight between the two countries. The race to reach space first, in which the Soviet Union won first. But there was another race going on between these two countries, which was the race to reach the center of the Earth, in which America did not want to teach a second position under any circumstances. So in the 1960s, a group of scientists called the Miscellaneous Society started a project called Project Mole. The purpose of this project was to reach the metal by digging the Earth's distress, so as to find out what is there. But to understand how deep the mantle part of the Earth exists, we have to look at the geography taught in childhood. So measured from the center, the thickness of this Earth is 6,378 kilometers, which is divided into 3 layers. The thickness of the outermost layer is 40 kilometers. The thickness of the second layer, i.e., the mantle, is 2,900 kilometers, and after the mantle, the core begins, which is divided into 2 parts: the outer core, which is about 2,200 kilometer wide layer. This layer is made of liquid metal. Then there is the inner core, which is made of solid metal. Its width is 1,280 kilometers. The temperature here is like the sun, reaches level with the surface. To date, metal scientists have not been able to find such a high temperature of about 6,000 degrees Celsius. So he decided to go to the mantle layer. Now for Project Atmosphere, American scientists began excavating inside the Pacific Ocean in the U.S. Guadalupe in Mexico in 1961. Yes, they chose the sea for digging. In fact, he believed that digging on the seashore would be quite easy because he was getting 2 advantages here. First, seawater absorbs some of the heat inside the Earth. And the second advantage was from the depths of the sea. Going inside the Earth was always compared to the ground. In the next 6 years, the American scientist dug a total of 5 wells, but the depth of the deepest well was only 183 meters, and in a way this project failed. The biggest problem was that it is very difficult to stabilize the ship that is installed for drilling on the surface of the sea. Then propellers, i.e., big fans, were installed around the ship to make a juke. But this project cost around Rs 3,000, U0,000. And because of the lack of money, America locked this project forever. However, the technology developed during this excavation was later used in oil drilling. Although after this project, America tried again in 1972. But this time the land was chosen, and the scientist. In the state of Oklahoma, a deep pit was dug to a depth of 9. 583 meters within 2 years, which was called Rogers Borehole. It was difficult to go down, so the excavation was stopped here. But now it was the turn of the Soviet Union. Those who have dug holes to the infinity of the Earth and made the way to hell. It took them more than 20 years. But it wasn't an easy journey. So how did the Soviet Union, i.e. Russia, dig the deepest in the world? Let's know the pit. After the failure of the United States while digging in the Pacific Ocean, the Soviet scientists decided to go from the ground to the depths of the Earth, for which he chose a place near the border of Russia and Norway, whose name was Kola. To start this project, a 120-story building was prepared here, and 3,000 lived in this building at the time of its work. Interestingly, those involved in this project were considered to be the greatest geologists of that time in all of Russia. The biggest dream in the world came to run. But he also had an idea of what could come out if he went deeper now. The surprising thing was that every day the digging work started after sunset. Everyone knew that this project would be very long and with a very big budget. Russia began digging on May 24, 1970. In a few years, scientists reached a depth of 7 kilometers. But then things became difficult from here. In fact, with the increase in depth, not only the rocks present in the Earth were getting stronger, but the temperature was also increasing significantly, due to which the drill bits began to twist and break. Many times it happened that the direction of the drill slightly changed and the excavation began to tilt in the way. Each time this happened, it was necessary to dig anew so that the head was intact. But the Russian scientists did not give up and drilled for years. It reached a depth of 12.2 kilometers. It was considered a greater success than sending humans to the moon. But from the beginning, there was a fear of failure with this project. There were rumors and doubts. People used to believe that if we go underground, we will go straight to hell, and then Satan can also come out of this pit. And these rumors gained traction when work on this project was halted for some time in 1983. At that time, a recording went viral, which was broadcast by several American news channels, with it being said that the Soviet scientist put a microphone on the snoke drill that went down and recorded the voice of hell present there. The audio was a bit scary to hear. A few years later, American news channels published clippings from local newspapers in Norway, claiming that not only were voices coming from the tunnel, but someone had seen a bat figure coming out of it. This started a myth that this is the gate of hell, so it was closed while the reality was far away. In fact, when scientists reached the depth of 12 kilometers, they found that the temperature there is 180 degrees. But there, according to calculations, the temperature should have been 100 degrees. Because of this, the temperature of those rotating reels was reaching 800 degrees and it was burning and breaking. At the same time, due to such temperature and pressure, the huge rock began to behave towards plastic, in which drilling in them became almost impossible. The project was canceled in August 1994. There is also a political reason for this. You may recall the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s, and everything from funds to scientific equipment was distributed among the ex-Soviet countries. This is why funding for such an expensive project has been stopped. Although a research station was built at this place until 2005, then the Kola Super Deep Borehole was closed by placing a board with a lid. And the scientists left this place deserted. Similarly, in this project, which lasted for 25 years, the scientists worked day and night to create 12 pits wide 12. 2 kilometers deep. But did it help? The answer is yes. First of all, scientists had discovered new technology that allowed them to go so low. A different kind of rock was found which was solid even at such high temperatures. Until 1979, this project broke the old record, which was previously in the name of America until 1983. It was over 12 kilometers deep. Now it was time to celebrate. Moscow announced the success of the project, and scientists from all over the world were invited to present the prize. All the scientists studied the rocks found below, and thus these rocks were first seen by human eyes. The whole world wanted to know this and doing similar work. This project was stopped for a whole year, and this is how the myth with the male door started. Also, it was previously believed that after a certain depth in the crust of the Earth, granite rock ends and basal rock begins. But the scientists found that no such boundary exists there. At the same time, the surprise here was that it is believed to get water even in such a depth that after a certain depth, the rocks become so dense that the water cannot go below it. Well, this proved to be wrong. Not only that, scientists found fossils at a depth of several kilometers, which were 200,000 years old. The survival of these fossils at such pressure and temperature gave the scientists a shocking subject. So for today, just when there really could be a door to hell in the depths of the Earth. And should any other country spend money and technology to go deeper than Russia? If you liked this video in the comments, then definitely like and share it and subscribe to our channel for such interesting videos.